Hello, Scorpio. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dunn. Supportive Oracle Cards, Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards by Tori Hartman, illustrated by Gretchen, and there's Gretchen's last name. I tried to butcher it in the last couple of videos, but I think I'm going to leave it alone because I really started butchering it. Alright. That's an interesting start you got going on here. It does remind me of Pisces a little bit. Alright. Alright, the situation. What is going on here? I feel like there's Is it a miscommunication or a misinterpretation? I think it's misinterpretation. You know, because communicating is like there's something going on between you and whoever, whatever. But I feel like you're seeing something or absorbing something, but I don't know if it's directly coming at you, but you're absorbing some information, then you're misinterpreting something. That's in the very beginning. Because there's something you feel very good about, something you're very connected with, but you're getting some information. It's almost like information kind of floating out, or almost like information that's not connecting correctly. Something is a little off here. For some of you, there could be some manipulation from an outside source trying to push a certain view on a situation. Kind of like they're trying to give you a certain angle, kind of like, oh, look at this. Did you know that? Look at that. And it's making you go, oh, I don't think I like that. The way you're showing it to me, it doesn't look good. That's contemplation, or not contemplation, complacency. With the soulmate card, is like it's something you're very, very heart connected to. Something that means a lot to you. You feel really, really great about, or just fits you. It fits you. But you don't feel great about it because you got complacency. There's information you're getting that doesn't feel right. Doesn't look right, you don't like it. But I'm also getting the King of Pentacles right on top of this. Kind of like you're taking this as fact. And I don't feel like it's fact. And that's the problem. This is where this is starting off from. Because like it could be somebody showing you something and it doesn't look right. In the angle they're giving you, it's like just an angle. But it's kind of like if you see the back of a stage, you can't tell what's on the front of the stage. Like if you're seeing it from all the back, you see all the wood and the plywood and how the sets are put together. But you can't see it from the viewing side. It may look a little bit, rigged up. You know what I mean? And you're kind of like, oh, I don't like this view of this. This is where this is starting, saying that you had a view, and the view was true, but you didn't have the whole picture, something like that. And it's the way you were absorbing the information. It makes sense, but because there wasn't communication or trying to figure out more, it seems to throw things off. Now, there's problems in the environment here with completion and guilt. Like, somebody seems to feel a little dejected from you. You might have taken a little bit of a back seat, or maybe gone a little quiet for a while because you saw this stuff and you're like, I don't like that. I really like the situation or person, but I don't like what I'm seeing here. So I'm just going to take a little hiatus from this situation and not be that deeply involved with it and leave it to where, just leave it alone for now. You're just kind of going to leave it alone. And what I'm getting here is like when that happens, it makes this other person feel like, it's done. If either the situation or person, it feels like, I don't feel like it's an actual completion, is it? I don't think so, but let's keep going. I just feel like it just makes them feel like there's a real problem here. And they're owning some of it. Like, it's weird because whatever you're seeing here, you are seeing a truthful piece of it, but it's not what the whole thing is made of. And it's kind of like defining... I feel like I'm looking at a cake, and I'm getting like... It's almost like you don't like the frosting of the cake, but it's not realizing that, like, they say there's some fondant on it and you don't like fondant, just to be honest, just to be on the point with it, whatever. But it's not all made of that. There's just some pieces that are fondant, and you don't have to eat it. The rest of the cake is good. So you are seeing some things that you don't really care for on there, but that's not what the whole thing is about. You can actually just get rid of those pieces and you'd be fine. You could eat that cake and be very happy with it. But this other person or situation is like, that is the honest truth. It is, fondant is a part of this. so I don't want to act like it's not. And there's a weird feeling, kind of like you're going to walk away from the situation. There's a really unsettling energy here. They seem to be worried. I don't think the completion is actually going to happen because it's showing up in the environment, but when it's coming in with guilt, it's more like a concern. Kind of like, oh, are we done? Is it over? Like, because that is a part of the truth. You seem to be seeing it from an angle that's not correct, but they also seem to be accepting that, which I really don't like that. This other side seems to be accepting that, like it's being hyper accentuated, exaggerated, hyper exaggerated, like not just exaggerated, but like hyper exaggerated. Like it's to them, that's all they're seeing. Like, oh, that is bad. They are right. Even though I don't see there's communication really happening here. That's also another weird thing. So they seem to know how you're viewing it. It seems to be playing on insecurities. Now the creation with the Seven of Cups here is kind of like, you don't want this to turn out this way. I feel like you're noticing this other person or situation kind of bending to you, kind of like it seems more open to what you want at this point. And you're kind of like, well, this cake that has the fondant on it, is there a way we can get rid of that fondant? Can we do something about that? Again, it's kind of like seeing the stage from the back part of it. Like, some of this looks a bit rickety. I don't like this. Can we fix this? Can we do something better with this? You're looking at possibilities and creating. You don't want this to go away, is what I'm getting. That because, again, you have the soulmate card there in the beginning. There's a very strong attachment to this. I do feel like there's a working out of it. And there's a very open energy here. Like, they're not giving, like, an actual, like, what's happening. Communication is good, but it depends on what's right for you, how you're working this out. Because for some of you, I feel like you're just going to start stepping forward and just start trying to fix things. Like, you're going to get on that stage and start making things more stable. Or you're going to be like, hey, let's redo this cake. Can we get rid of the fondant? And just kind of, you might talk that out and be like, let's see if we can do this cake differently without the fondant. One way or another, you're going to move forward into it, and I get that. You got the gossip card in here, and the question is, I feel like this is you looking at the situation again and going like, I had a certain view of the situation, and that was true, but that's not what this whole situation is about. This wasn't all about that. This was a piece of it. Maybe this was 10 to 15% of the situation, but it's fixable. I can make this better. It's not that bad. So what do we need to do with this? And I feel like you're looking at this in a very modest way, kind of like, you know what, I think I got a little bit caught up in this. There is some truth here, but that's not, this whole thing wasn't defined by that. It's like 10 to 15%. It's not a big deal. I can move around it. I can fix it. We can do something with this. And I feel like for some of you, if someone else pushed this towards you, if somebody else did kind of try to manipulate you, you're noticing that. You're like, oh, okay. You wanted me to think this about that. You wanted me to view it that way. You wanted me, but why? Why did you want to? So you might be identifying somebody who's a gossip or somebody who might be a troublemaker around you. Excuse me. Okay, so these two cards fell out while I was shuffling. They fell out upside down. It's the Six of Cups and it's the Two of Swords, both reversed. I feel like there's some... You might be calling somebody out. You might be calling somebody out because this kind of shifts. Whatever the environmental energy was before that you were dealing with, and there was some... They were just kind of going with it and agreeing with you. That situation is its own situation. This seems to be transferring over more to the gossip energy. Kind of like somebody who pushed something towards you and it didn't have the right color or flavor, or like they were trying to hyper focus on this and like, see the stage, that's what it's all about. It's all screwed up. It's all screwed up. And they really tried to amp that up so that you were really bothered by it. And it's kind of like you're pointing out, you're going towards this energy. Whatever it was, you're addressing this misconception. Wherever this misconception started from, I feel like you're going to address it. You're going towards it very strongly. You're kind of like, that's not what this is really about. You made this look to me as if that's what this whole situation was built from. That is not what this whole situation is built from. And you're forcing this person to deal with you. That's what I'm getting with these two cards. You got the Devil card with the Destiny card. Now, this kind of feels like righteous anger to me. And I might be in the minority saying this, but the Devil card is not only... it's not only like a difficult energy, but it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you got to have these harsh moments so that way things can come out in the open and the truth can come out. Sometimes these harsh moments push the truth forward. I know it's rough. It is definitely not. You're not going to be in a good mood. You're going to be ticked right off, is what I'm getting. You're not going to be happy about it. But the destiny is saying this is something you're going to push forward and you're going to address because you're not going to put up with it. Now, as this keeps going forward, I feel like you're calling this energy out. There's a lot of healing in this situation. Like, I don't know who you're calling out because at some point it seems like somebody's being called out for something. Healing is happening here with the Four of Swords is kind of what I'm feeling, like holding back, healing, taking a rest. The Knight of Wands is trying to hold themselves together, trying to pull themselves back together. And the Eight of Cups is telling me they have to walk away from like the situation. They have to let it go in the past. They just gotta take their licks on the situation, accept it was a little bit rough, and move on from it. There's a lot of healing, trying to pull themselves together. I feel like the Knight of Wands in this situation is pull themselves together and just kind of accept, like, you called them out. You had something to say, you're kind of right with it. I do feel like there's more communication going on with this energy going forward with the Princess of Swords, but it's a very strong, a very passionate conversation again. Kind of like, I feel like they're trying to hold it together, pull themselves together. They're saying, yeah, I got a little out of hand with that, but it wasn't that vicious. I wasn't meaning to be that vicious. I apologize for that. They're trying to correct the situation without revamping it. They're owning what they can, but they're also trying to be a little honest. Like, I didn't really mean for it to be that bad. I'm seeing your energy here with the forgiveness, kind of like you could give it to them again if you wanted to, but you're not. I feel like you're willing to forgive this energy, and you're kind of like, well, all right, but next time, just give me the facts. Don't give me your spin on it, and I think we'll be better. I feel like that's going on here. The situation overall seems to be restabilizing. I feel like you're looking back at this after it's all said and done, after you're not angry anymore, after you've kind of moved on from it, because you've expelled that energy, so you've released it, so you're not upset about it anymore. So you got dissipating with the self-worth, and you have the Five of Cups here, kind of like you might be looking back on it, kind of like I might have kind of went a little over the top on that, but I'm also getting like you showed your passion. I don't know. You're gonna have to decide for yourself if you went over the board or not. I feel like you're going to be questioning after this is kind of settling and healing. I feel like you're going to review it and be like, well, maybe I went a little bit overboard on that. It's one of those things where you kind of have to look back and kind of be like, you know what, I don't feel bad about expressing how I felt, but maybe some of the words or ways I expressed that were not to my best advantage. Maybe I could have taken out some of that colorful language I used and maybe got more to the point and just addressed it head on instead of, maybe got a little bit over dramatic. Maybe. You have to decide for yourself if that's the truth. Because I'm seeing the Five of Cups kind of like you're doing this self-audit thing, which for those of you who are doing this is a very strong spiritual growth moment when you look back at a situation and you kind of self-audit it, kind of like, all right, that's how it played out. Do I really like how that played out? Could I have done that differently and got a better outcome? And just kind of owning it. Kind of like, you know what, I wasn't wrong for saying what I said, but maybe the way I said it could have been a little better. Kind of one of those moments. Maybe. It's up to you. Obviously. The situation does stabilize with the Empress energy, though. I feel like everything is a lot better than it was to begin with. The situation does seem to be correcting. I do feel like it's a better situation than it started out with. Something was a little off base. It had to be corrected. I feel like when all is said and done, it's better at the end than it was in the beginning anyway. It's just the road that had to be taken there to get there. You kind of have to decide for yourself if that was worth it. All right. I think we're there. I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.